Greetings, we are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and we strive to bring you the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but that truth. No hype, no fluff, no trying to pull a wool over your eyes, no other BS. As we have a policy, honesty is our best policy, and we believe in the old age chivalry, where a man's word is a man's word, and it should be honoured, it should be taken as his word, etc., etc., and stood upon and defended. We are going to ask a question via this video content, that could this prove that the modern Americanized Bible versions from the ESV, RSV, Good News, NIV, NKJV, etc., etc., be of Roman Catholic origin? Could we have stumbled upon something that no one else has, that no one else on YouTube has ever thought of and covered in their religiously inclined videos, and scriptural videos, etc.? But we do ask, please keep this in mind, bear this in mind, that this is just something we came across, we realised. We still have to verify that it's established fact, that it's evident, irrefutable and infallible before we take it on board. So, as an example of what we're trying to get at, we're going to take a verse, Acts 2 verse 9, from the said original Galilean Aramaic, which was spoken by Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, and his 12 disciples, who spoke it and wrote all down in that language of what they, as witnesses, heard, saw Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, or Jesus Christ actually do, as though his closest companions are around him 24/7, 365. So, as witnesses or testators, they recorded exactly what they saw, heard, and saw him do. Okay? In the time that he was with them. And then, when the church of Jerusalem was destroyed, these disciples fled across lands with these manuscripts, these original manuscripts, whatever they're written down. Someone grabbed it, someone had the skills to write it down, probably someone who might have been like Matthew, the tax collector, record keeper, whatever. They ran across country, they went through China, left a monument there, apparently someone left a monument there, with Chinese on the top and apparently Aramaic underneath, as found by Victor and Alexander. They went to India, i.e. Thomas, Bartholomew, Peter, and founded these churches, and Thaddeus, and founded these churches all over India. And then around AD 72, perhaps Thomas was preaching to the people there, and these two Brahmins got angry with them. They started to hate on them, so they stirred up the crowd, who then stoned Thomas, and they saw that he was still alive and kicking, so they stabbed him in the side with his side with a spear until he was dead. But his martyrdom, his death, was inspiring enough to start a local group who were later called St. Thomas Christians. So we are looking at this verse from these original hidden and preserved manuscripts, translated in English by native-born Aramaic-speaking Mesopotamian, or translated from Bet Narain, who's had 15 years experience translating these scriptures and filmmaking, etc. And it says here in these original manuscripts that were hidden and preserved for over 2,000 years, hidden from the Roman Catholics by these high priests and the Mohammedans, and therefore not tampered with, because they spoke the language, the manuscripts were in the language that they spoke, so they didn't have a need to translate, as the Western theologians, etc., felt that they needed to do, so they made copies of the supposed original Hebrew into the Greek, into the Germanic, the old Germanic Latin, and then the old Latin, and then Shakespeare speak, Romeo and Juliet speak, Old English of King James era, and over time it was all translated into English, Americanized English. Okay, not the UK English. It's completely different. Englanders will tell you, yeah, it's not the Queen's English, it's Americanized English. So we're going to look at these verses before we go even deeper. And 2:9 to 11 states was read Parthians. Obviously they were from a place called Parthia, and Medes, the Medians, and Elamites, and those who live in Bet Narain. It's Mesopotamia. Going to go look down here at the footnotes. For 2:9, Acts 2:9:1 is the first indication of a footnote. Mesopotamia in Greek language. So Mesopotamia was Greek. Galileans were from Bet Narain. Originally, that's what it was called originally, Bet Narain. That's where Victor and Alexander came from. It's come from. Native born. They were Asherai. They were settled there centuries before by the rulers of Nineveh. That is why the Church of the East, ancient Aramaic dialect, is identical with that of the Apostles, because it has the same origin, and scriptures have been maintained in the original language. The men of Nineveh were converted to the true faith by Jonah several centuries before Yeshua, or Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, came. And when Yeshua, or Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah, came, they all followed him. To this day, all Asherai are Mashiachai. And what does Mashiachai mean? In English, followers of the Messiah. And these disciples didn't call themselves Christians. They were Jews, they were kosher Jews. Like Peter refused to eat certain foods, even though in the vision he was told it's all be made clean by God. He's like, no, don't do that. And I won't do that. And they didn't associate with non-Jews, Gentiles, because that was the Judaic thing, a Jewish thing. Didn't bathe with them, didn't talk to them, etc., etc. It was a no-no. Okay, so looking at Rome and seeing, look at that pagan, evil nation, bull sacrificing and all this pagan worship of these different gods and goddesses, and claiming themselves to be gods and all this sort of stuff. They're nuts, right? They're mad. Okay. So we're not going to be called Christians. They dumped that on anyone that followed the Christ. Okay. When Rome became made Christianity legal, etc. It was all good to be that, right? So they borrowed from the Greeks this word Christos and gave it to these followers of this Christ with Christus, okay, which ended up being, in the Roman mind, a derogative term, a slight derogative term, slaves to the Christos or Christ. Okay, so these Jews didn't want that label, they didn't want to be known, they didn't want to be given that sort of title from a pagan nation, so they called themselves Mashiachai, followers of the Messiah, from the original Aramaic Galilean. Besides Asherai, there was also Chaldeans and Armenians who accepted Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah. The people of Mesopotamia generally converted to the Christian faith as soon as the apostles reached them. The Copts and Ethiopians were the converts from Africa. There were many others too from all over the world. We can have a look at your Americanized modern Bible versions translated into English. It's basically the same. Parthians and Medes, Elamites, those dwelling in Mesopotamia, or Bet Narain, Judea and Cappadocia. Obviously these people from Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia. Obviously all over Asia. Here's your Acts 2:9 New Century Version, it's probably the same, they're all the same. American Standard Version, saying the same thing. Even the his new Revised Version, etc., etc., New International Version, New American Standard Bible Version, but there was one here in particular which is basically saying the same. The New Living Translation of the Jehovah's Witnesses is saying exactly the same. Okay, so we, the Ministry of the Real Truth, put this challenge to you. What's wrong with these verses? Okay, even this one, what's wrong here? Okay, it's translated into English. It's to the nearest English equivalent, while staying faithful to what the ancient manuscripts or old scriptures in this language actually say. So, what's the difference? What's the key? Sorry, what's the key? What is wrong with these verses? If you can tell us, then tell us in the comments below, and we'll commend you if you're correct. Okay, we'll call you frickin' genius, Stephen Hawkins or Einstein genius, or else we'll tell you you're completely way off and your understanding of it is wacky. No, just kidding. Yeah, we'll just tell you, yeah, if you're wrong and how you're wrong. But yeah, there's the key there, and if you can see it, then subscribe to our channel, set the notification bell, then add your comments, tell us what it is. We won't release part 2 explaining it all until we get at least 100 subscribers, begging us to bring part 2. Jokes. Yeah, so yeah, there's something wrong here. If you can figure it out, again, subscribe, add your comment, give us a thumbs up, tell your Christian friends, your non-Christian friends, your atheists, your agnostics, your Satanists, church members, of your church obviously, your cat and your dog. Hey man, this is like this Ministry of the Real Truth is bringing us the real truth. Like, I never saw it like that, I never knew that. If you pick it up, right? Okay, we'll explain all in part 2. And yeah, tell them to come and look at our videos, because we reveal them the whole truth, the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. No fluff, no huff, no BS. Right? No trying to pull the wool over your eyes. But have you seen? Can you see it yet? There's something wrong with these verses. Can you see it? Can you? Can you? Well, can you? Okay. So let us know. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumb up. Let us know. Tell your friends and family. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can.